I don't know. It's funny because you see this movie and it's like I don't know that I want people to go, "Oh, that's Ryan's kind of movie."
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast. I am Mark. That's Ryan. Hi Ryan.
Hello.
The other night we got to see a movie we were both kind of waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely.
After last year's reboot of the venerable not zombie franchise, 28 Days Later franchise with 28 years later, we get The Bone Temple.
Yes.
Entry number 2, still written by Alex Garland. Not directed by Danny Boyle this time. Nia DiCosta steps in. Some people might have trouble with that, but whatever, man. We'll talk about how this movie plays. Picks up right after 28 years later, ends with Spike dealing with the Jimmies. Which Jack O'Connell plays Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal, and his 7 fingers, as he calls them, all named Jimmy, except for Jimmy Ma.
Yeah, they're all Jimmy, but there's Jimmy
surnames.
Jimmy.
Yes, there's Jimmy Inc., Jimmy Shite.
Yeah,
Jimmy Jones. But one there's 2 females. 3
yeah,
might be 3, but one of them is actually Jimmy Ma.
Yeah, Jimmy,
like Jemima, but Jimmy Ma.
Yeah.
Like the head finger, as it develops throughout, is played by Aaron Kellyman. Not last seen, but seen recently in Solo, as the rebel leader, and Captain America, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier as the superpowered flag smasher. But we get Alfie Williams back as Spike, and Ralph Fiennes as Dr. Kelson. So the story picks up with Spike fighting for his life, and then being forced to join the Jimmies.
Yes.
As a replacement Jimmy. And so we get to see this very strange, we follow 2 storylines. We follow the Jimmies, and we follow Dr. Kelson, Ralph Fiennes, as he deals with Samson, the Alpha. And if you saw the first one, you remember the Alpha, because you couldn't miss him. Look, these movies have never been exclusively about the infected, as they call the infected. They're not zombies, they're infected people. And this one isn't either. This is about people.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we were both excited. What were you hoping for going in, or most excited based on what you knew going in? Even though you and I both try not to.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't do a lot of looking into it. Obviously, I knew how the last film ended, and I knew this one was going to focus more on Ralph Fiennes' character. And he is an interesting character. In that he's sort of the mad scientist, but
except he's not mad.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, he may be mad, but
not in a put together a Frankenstein's monster kind of.
No. He's actually looking for a legitimate cure,
or at the very least, let's not say cure. Let's say understanding.
Sure.
Because he is a man of medicine. He wants to understand.
Yes. So at least, and that's probably step 1 to ultimately finding any sort of cure, is to understand what it is that you're combating as a doctor. I didn't really know a lot. So I purposely, again, like you said, we kind of avoid knowing too much going in. And I hadn't watched any additional trailers or anything. So, all I was looking for was really just kind of an interesting extension off of what we had already seen in the last film. Obviously the end of the film with the Jimmies, it was kind of like, okay, that's a bit weird. Instant reaction is, second reaction is, oh yeah, that would absolutely happen.
Happen.
It would absolutely happen. And pretty much, I mean, the way they play it in this film, it's like, yeah, That seems as a reasonable explanation for everything.
That tracks.
Yes,
That tracks.
very much so. So I think, more than anything, that's what I wanted. I wanted a film that carried on what the other films had established, but it's also interesting to note that none of the films have been sort of the same thing. They're all variations on a theme, and that's what's made them enjoyable. And often it's about the world as much as it is the characters, or exploration of the whatnot. And so that's still here. I just wanted an extension, and I think we got more than an extension, actually.
Well, or we got an extension in the best possible sense.
Yes.
This world has grown. One of the reasons we like the Wick franchise is because they grow the world.
Yes.
Every time. And in this one, more so than the last one did, from 28 years and 28 months, or 28 days and 28 weeks, this one, I think, grows it more, even though it takes place immediately following.
Yeah. And it's dealing, like you said, it's dealing primarily with two groups in the way they interact with the world around them. The Jimmies are a little more mobile. Yes. And so we see the real terror of the world at that point. We get both sides of the coin. We get the hope and the utter hopelessness.
Yes.
And that first, when this film wants to be scary, it's pretty darn, and when I say scary, it's not like jump scary, but just horrific.
Disturbing.
Yes. When this film wants to be disturbing and horrific, it is disturbing and horrific. There's nothing held back in this. It's all, on display, which in some films might be, a fault. But I think in this film, it's part of the structure. It's part of the beast that we're going on a journey with. I don't know. It starts not literally with a bang, but that the first scene is, you're in for something. And I think I like that. I know I like that. Let's set the stakes right now. Let's not, pussyfoot around with anything. We're 4 films into this franchise. Let's just lay it all out and then let the ball roll downhill.
Yeah. And that's the great part. This is, I said, this is like one of the, let's see. It's a much more humanist look at post-apocalyptic life, but it comes at it from 2 standpoints.
Yeah.
And I know I mentioned this to you and Wendy in the theater. I think any post-apocalyptic world, every time you watch it, there's 2 types of people that survive. Those that will do whatever it takes to survive. And then those who will do whatever it takes to remember why they survive.
Yeah.
And so we get both of those here. We get the Jimmies who will do whatever it takes to survive. And you said they're mobile. And I was going to say they're mobile because for them, mobility is survivability.
Yeah.
Because one can argue, and it almost always seems to happen in every post-apocalyptic film, the longer you stay in one place, you're never complacent, but you're never quite as geared up as you might have been early on. But the Jimmies move, the Jimmies kill the infected casually until they get to the next place where they can park for a minute, steal some food, and dispense charity.
Yeah. Yes. Quote unquote charity.
Charity, yes.
Well, I mean, because their thing is they're not interested in the traditional sense of survival.
They're not interested in the world that was.
No, and they're not. They're going to feed off of the people who have learned how to farm. They're not going to learn how to farm. They're going to be the raiders. They're going to be the people who, take advantage of the optimism of other people, I guess.
Yes.
Because the thing is they're the unpredictable variant, because they, the infected, you sort of have rules and not to break those rules, but with the Jimmies, they make up the rules.
Yes.
You don't get to control what the rules are with the Jimmies, and that's always going to give the Jimmies the upper hand.
Yep.
Or more often than not. So but it's, I mean, it's like I said, the Jimmy aspect of this film is pretty terrifying, but also, I think, grounded in things that we see around us to a certain extent, if not in our immediate backyard, in the world as our backyard.
Yeah.
So it's for as over the top as it is, and it is, and the
it's
Jimmies
no
are
more over the top than any other cult.
No,
and it's a cult.
Yeah,
it's
very
a cult
much
of
so.
8.
Yes,
7 Fingers and Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal.
And you're playing the cult dynamic.
Yes.
Throughout the film. And it's, the thing about cults is it's always a power struggle. Who has the power, who's threatening the power, it's pretty classic human nature stuff that's going on in here, played out obviously in an extreme sort of way. But it's funny because I was thinking throughout the film of Testament of Ann Lee.
Yeah,
there's elements, because again, that's sort of but there's a lot of the elements that were good in that film are in this film.
Yes.
Particularly when it comes to shared experience and just the mania that comes from a group of people doing something together, whether that be a horrific thing or whatnot, but just the way that they feed off of each other's energy and rile each other up, and that sort of. I mean, there's just I think it's a really compelling and interesting film that a lot of people probably will look at and disregard it just because it's a genre film. And because there's ample amounts of blood and guts in it.
Yep.
But I think that thematically, it's really quite on the nose. I'm a huge fan of Alex Garland, and I've always have been. I even liked Men, probably more than a lot of people did. So none of this comes as a surprise, really. I didn't have any issues with whoever wanted to direct this. Granted, Danny Boyle's done the first few, but when you have a script and a constant script writer, or if you have your franchise has a constant, that constant will tend to keep things even.
Yeah.
And
in this case, we have Alex Garland, who's writing the last one, this one, and the next one.
Yes. So, there's that bridging the gap sort of thing. So Nia DiCosta, I have absolutely no issues with her direction on this. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that said, I don't really think I had issues with the other stuff she had done. I thought the Candyman remake was interesting.
Yeah, that one was actually really good.
I didn't mind the Ms. Marvel or whatever, and
the Marvels.
The Marvels. I didn't mind that. I know a lot of people to have issues with it for reasons that are actually outside of the movie itself, which is, I think, unfortunate. But so I wasn't worried about that aspect either. And I just. I don't know. It's funny because you see this movie and it's like, I don't know that I want people to go, "Oh, that's Ryan's kind of movie," because it's right. Pretty horrific. It's bleak. It's like it's kind of awful. Not in the way that it's made, but just the experience is kind of awful.
As a moviegoer, and I get what you're saying, you shouldn't have one type of movie.
Yes,
like
but this
this is my type of popcorn movie. This is my type of art house movie. This is my type of thematically, this is the type of movie that I like.
And so
there's a lot of ways to say that.
But anyways, but this is more or less the movie I wanted from this. I didn't necessarily go in saying this is what I want.
Right.
But I walked out of the theater saying, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's not an easy thing to do when you're on a fourth film in a franchise. That's not an easy thing to do when you know, you are dealing with genre tropes and piling on top of that social commentary and, you know, whatever. It's films are hard to make to begin with. And then you rate if when you're trying to do something and you said you don't want this called elevated horror, and I agree with you. I don't think this doesn't fit into that exactly, but this is elevated whatever. You know,
it's
whatever
quality. I said it is quality cinema.
Yeah, it's not it's ambitious.
Yes.
And because it is ambitious, it takes risks. And because it takes risks, it's like in gymnastics, we talk about this all the time. Some performances you can get a 10 if you perform it perfectly. Other performances you're going to get a 7 if you perform it perfectly.
Yep.
This one is a film that probably I don't know that it's a 10 difficulty, but it's a pretty high difficulty, 8 or 9. And in it sticks to the landing, to use the metaphor further.
Yep.
Which is, you know, fairly exciting, particularly because we're 2 weeks into January, and typically we're being given just throwaway films at this time of year. And we've seen 2 films this year, and one was good, and this one's pretty excellent.
Yeah.
If this is how this year is going to play out, fantastic.
If this is the worst we get, it's going to be a banner year.
It's going to be the greatest year of cinema.
You know what though? Let's stop and think about this for a second.
Yeah. All right.
We are 2 weeks into January.
Yeah.
What 2 films are dropping a week before the end of the year?
Well,
Dune and Doomsday.
Yeah.
Don't drop the ball.
No. And pressure on them now.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. If they cannot meet this level of execution with those 2 franchises, that's going to redefine January and February.
Yeah, well, and obviously those films are going to be different in tone and scope, but the quality needs to be there. And it's funny because I think a lot of, you know, they barely just greenlighted the next 20 years later. You know, they hadn't decided if they wanted to greenlight the third film that's going to come in this series, which is probably, if you know, you would think it looks like it's the wrapping up of everything. Which, you know, because you can't really 28 decades later, you could, but at that point,
it'll be 28 years later. You know, another subtitle like Bone Temple.
Yeah, that's what this next one is. But after that, there's really not a lot of places you can take it unless you can just continue with the 28 years later thing. Which I don't. You know, again, they have one more coming. I'm happy for that.
Yep.
I don't know if Sony sat down and saw this film and said, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is, we need to continue with this," because this is how you make a film that's in the middle. This is a middle film, and this is how you make that film.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, you go, "Yeah, I want to see that next film."
Yep.
Give me that right. If you could give that to me next week, if you could give that to me tonight, I would go from this theater into that theater and watch that movie right now.
Right.
And that's what the film should do. That's what great middle films of trilogies do.
They should drive you to the third and final.
Yeah, you should just be like, I have to see this. I want to see this now. Oh, I have to wait 2 years? Okay, but
hopefully it's only one like this one.
Yeah.
But I think they shot these 2 back to back, so there might be a slight delay.
They did. So we'll see. Yeah. But I don't want to go crazy. You know, I don't know that this is going to be my top 10 films of the year sort of thing at the end of the year. But if I saw this in December, it would have been one of my top 10 films of the year.
Yeah.
For last year. It would have been. So, I mean, And
Yeah,
it might have been my favorite genre film of the year. I don't know, maybe not. I'd have to look, but
yeah.
it's right up there.
Yep. And like I said that it's already a favorite of 2026.
Yeah.
We've got a long way to go, but we'll have to revisit this at some point.
Yes.
You're not going to we're not going to get to July and be like, well, that's out.
No, I no. No,
So
this is and look, we're about to head into Sundance soon, and we all know that Sundance, seeing films at festivals and things earlier, changes the way you see films,
yeah,
and the way and then you kind of have to reevaluate as the year goes on. This, Sundance is already competing with this movie in my
yeah,
head, and I can't think of any time in the past whatever years that I've been a critic that I've seen a film this early in the year that I'm pretty darn certain, is going to be in my top 5
yeah.
probably.
Well, what's funny is that next Thursday, the day that the festival kicks off,
We get another
we get a
film that
screen. We get a screening, and I think it opens the week after that.
yeah.
But you figure in any other year, if they bump Send Help to summer, it's a Raimi genre film with 2 actors.
Yeah.
It could be a Sundance film. It could be in the midnight category.
It could.
That's just crazy to think about.
But it's, and it's kind of funny because they're only at Sundance, there are only 8 midnight films, and that's yeah.
And that's past year there'd be like 10, 11.
Yeah,
12.
and it's I don't know. After Sundance, maybe we can talk about the role that Sundance plays in the contemporary filmscape, because it is changing. And I don't, anyway, that's a discussion for another time.
Maybe we can talk about that at Sundance. We're gonna
Yeah,
we're gonna be up there next weekend, so we'll see.
Anyway, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, I just I was just really impressed with this film.
100%.
Wendy, my girlfriend, who has tastes that align with mine in a lot of ways, which is nice,
right?
Because I mean, last night we went out to dinner, and I said that movie was really good, and she's like, yeah, it was really, and there are a lot of people. I mean, you pick who you're with, and hopefully you guys like the same sort of stuff, because there's there's certain people that you can't take to this film because it's too much.
There's a lot.
It is very. There's a lot of gore, particularly in the first half of the film. Not nearly as much in the second half, but that first half of the film is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
The psychological half
we get to all the philosophy of the film.
Yes, that's the psychological element.
Yes.
And so it's and it in a way but does that work? Yeah, it does.
It does.
Again, and that's one of those risks that we're taking, because on paper it's like, oh, that's going to be hard.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to have a first act that's all about the physical horror, and the second half to be about the, are you sure you want to try to, okay, all right. I think an easier way would to weave them together throughout, rather than to kind of have them have distinct stuff. But I mean, there's stuff in that second half that is just visually fantastic too.
Oh my God. Best use of Iron Maiden in film.
Yeah.
And that whole section.
That
fantastic.
And in fact, and they use a lot of Duran Duran early on, which
I know you loved.
Well, it's such with Iron Maiden and the horrors of that is it matches. Whereas with Duran Duran in the early part of it, it is such a contrast. Because what Duran Duran was selling and continued to sell, but what they were selling is the complete opposite of the world that exists.
But again, that's why
it's
he being used.
Yes. But it's funny because initially he's just singing the lines to one of the songs. And I was like, walking through. And I was like, that's a really interesting choice because, well, his situation, and then they keep going kind of further into it on that. And it works fine. And it works really well, actually. But it's just that idea of that's the part of that he's clinging to, what part of humanity? Because I don't know. Did we really think about what his life was before?
No, he was a GP in the NHS.
But you know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
now suddenly you go, well, so he went out to clubs. He was that kind of guy. But you don't know. But I mean, he suddenly started thinking, okay, this guy's past has a whole lot more to it than initially. It's a slight coloring, and just the fact that suddenly and we see a couple of photos from the past and things that he shows, and you start to remember things. But he also comments on that later on in the film. About the past, and it's really, I mean, there's just lots of stuff in here that I think is incredibly well written. There are going to be people who don't like this film, and I allow for that.
Right.
There's a ton of naked people running around ripping people apart and things, and that's pretty horrific. But it's the nudity is
incidental.
It's not like, I mean, it's incidental. It's kind of, maybe it's everywhere for part of it, but it's how it would be.
Right. I mean, it's that's in the issue. World they've got, it would be like complaining about corn in Nebraska.
It was like, well, they're not gonna, I mean, this is not a traditional Hollywood film.
There was that one part. There was that, I used a Moses analysis or analogy when we were talking about Greenland too. And in this one, it's the Garden of Eden.
Yes.
Parallel, where it's like, it's like,
and you get it. It's written in the script, and it's we understand what that means.
Yes.
But no one has to say, oh, hey,
good writing.
Something about you has changed.
Yes.
Let's comment on the thing about you that has changed, and let's draw attention. It's not that sort of movie, which is great.
Yep. It's awesome. So so far we've seen, I think this is the third film in theaters this year. Third. Well, no.
You saw one more than me, but
because in theaters, but I've seen one other.
The Daisy Ridley film, I think, was in theaters.
Right. Yeah, but I saw it before him. But yeah, so that's a movie that's in theaters. But yeah, so that's it. This is like the third or fourth theatrical release, major theatrical release this year. It's by far the best.
Yeah. Wow, it's great.
But that's not to downplay the other ones that we've seen. This one is just really well done.
Yeah.
And once again, Ralph Fiennes just kills it.
Yeah.
I loved him in the last one. I thought he was a great supporting actor. And I put him in for one of our special awards, which I don't think he made the cut for, but he kills it again. He plays this post-apocalyptic bit like it's Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is a wonder to behold. I just loved him to death.
Well, to be honest, if it's Shakespeare of its day, this is sort of the Shakespeare of its day, because Shakespeare was playing to low and highbrow audiences at the same that he made he made plays that were supposed to play to the common element as well as the upper class element. And I think this is the sort of film that kind of does that. It plays to the genre house fans.
Yeah.
And slips in some art house elements to it, and it's which is a lot of what Alex Garland has done throughout his career.
Yeah,
is just making, to me, that he's just making intelligent genre films.
Yeah,
and if you're into it, you're into it, and if you're not, you're not. That's fine.
True that.
But if you have any inclination whatsoever to see this film, you should.
Yes. It's in theaters Friday.
Yeah.
16th. Yes. So definitely check it out. But yeah, it's
and the last film was really good as well, but I don't know that it was as shockingly good as this.
No. It was a solid, it's not a reboot.
No.
It was a solid return to the world.
Yes. But
this is great.
Upped it.
Yes.
That, and I don't know if the next film's going to up it. I think we kind of know the direction the next film's probably going to take, and I think it's just going to be a different kind of film.
Yeah.
What that film is, I don't know, and I like the fact that I don't really know how that film's going to work. I'm just going to have to trust that they know what they're doing, because they haven't shown that they don't know what they're doing. They, in fact, shown that they do know what they're doing. So we'll just trust them on that. No, there's not much I would change about it, if anything. There was nothing that I as an artist, there's stuff in that film that I don't think I could have done. That's not because I don't think it was done effectively. I just don't think and I love that. I love the fact that I look at it and say, I can't make this film. I love this film. I couldn't make this film if I wanted to.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway,
there you go. 28 years later, The Bone Temple. Yeah, it's well done. Kudos to all of you people. So,
great pacing.
Yep.
I mean, it never lingers too long. It shows you as horrible things. It gives you a glimpse, it lets you look, and then it moves on.
Yep.
Man.
The barn is going to be hard for some people, but
the barn is, if you can make it through the barn,
the
barn is the test.
Yeah.
And it is a test. But I don't.
But it's good. But it is very good. So there you go. So that's it. That is 28 years later, The Bone Temple. Don't forget to like us, follow us on social media. You know how all that works. Go to the website, vsmoviepodcast.com. Follow us wherever we have an outlet, because some stuff hits some places, some stuff hits other places. That's the nature of the world in which we live. So if you want everything, subscribe and follow us everywhere.
Yeah.
Till we talk to you again, which will probably be from Sundance.
Probably. Yeah.
We're going to try to do some stuff while we're up there. Opening weekend. Be good. Stay safe. Go see a good movie. We've given you several.
Yeah.
In theaters. Please reward the theaters. Please reward the theaters. Because some films are not meant to be on your 80-inch TV. They're meant to be on the 60-foot screen or the IMAX screen.
At least the first time.
To be that big. At least the first time.
At least the first time.
So there you go. So we talk to you again. I'm Mark. That's Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See you guys.
And we will talk to you all later.